This week, we are talking with Kelsey, who has kindly agreed to share her MTHFR journey with all of us. Now, Kelsey is completely unknown to me. This is the first time I'm meeting her, so I am super excited to get started. Hi, Kelsey.
Hi.
How are you? What brings you to the table?
Well, what doesn't bring me to the table?
Right.
Um, yeah, just the MTHFR journey and how it's brought in a lot of, good things as far as answers to my questions and a little bit of missing pieces to the puzzle that I've been trying to put together forever.
Right, your whole life. That was me too.
Yeah.
So tell me how you found out about MTHFR.
It's kind of funny. I went, my husband and I were going to a physician mental health for counseling. And she asked us about, if we had ever had a genetic test just to kind of see, what kind of medications worked well with our system and, as far as like probably depression and anxiety and things like that. And so we said no, but, it'd be nice to know how that works. And so she did a mouth swab on both of us. And some things came back and it, it wasn't that she knew too much, I feel like she wasn't seasoned in knowing what gene snips are or anything like that. But it was almost a generated thing through the Millennium one and another one that we ended up taking. But it flagged an acronym looking, MTHFR, and I just remember thinking, is that mother father? Like, do we get that from mother father kind of a deal? And then there was the funny thing that I now know from, I think it's Gary Brecka, that uses it as a term that
Mhm.
I won't repeat, but
Right, right. Not
as
the
yeah, as
term.
something as the mother gene. And so I just remembered it. And then I was doing some research on my metabolism because I've had ADHD. I've been diagnosed since I was about 6 years old on different medications. Pretty much when my son was 2, and I had him when I was about 26. After I stopped breastfeeding, I just kind of went, oh, why do I feel different? Why are all these anxieties coming up? I was trying to manage a career and single mom and new wife, and I just felt different. And yeah, so anyway, I got back on medication, and which at first they tried to re-diagnose me as just depression and anxiety.
Mm.
And I knew there was something more to it than that. And so then I kind of remembered, from when I was younger, and went to a different doctor and said, "You think this has something to do with ADHD?" And she goes, "I think that's probably a pretty general. Yeah, I think you're right on the money." And so I did good on medications for a little while, and then it was almost like my body would develop a tolerance to them, and they would stop working. And then, of course, not even thinking about hormones, but during certain parts of the month, everything would get dramatically worse, and then even out in 2 weeks. And so there was just so many inconsistencies. And so I was doing some research, pretty much because at this point I'd been with my doctor for 6 7 years, and she was like, "I don't know what else to do. We've got you capped on medication." And so I went to this genetic test that she had kind of ran for me all these years ago, and I just went, "So what is this? What is this MTHFR?" And she just said, "Well, it's a folate deficiency kind of a deal. You'd have to be taking what they call Deplin."
Mhm.
Um, and she didn't explain as far as what it would do for me. She just said that I had a deficiency. Little did I know that it was pretty much the building block to all of the inconsistencies over all the years, and plugging that into, I have the worst form of the gene. I got it from my mom and my dad, and plugging in all of those, little tidbits. And then, I have two boys, 7 and 14 now, and just significant struggles through the mass.
Right.
So yeah, I started plugging into different things and trying to put that gene snip into just Google pretty much, because nobody could tell me really a lot of things. And I started just educating myself, kind of like I did with the ADHD, and then to find out how well, how much they correspond together and they correlate everything pretty much. I was just like, huh, oh, hmm. And so, yeah, I mean, I've literally done my own research on just about every gene snip I have on this paper. And we got my son tested, and of course he has it. Um, there were some pretty heavy hits as far as me being a concerned mom, that my ex-husband now had the hemochromatosis gene.
Oh, okay.
His father passed away from it when he was about 10, 11 years old. And he, out of the three boys, his two brothers, he was the only one that got the gene.
Oh, wow.
And so I found out that, that's a different kind of genetic test. That's oncology, that's different. And so that was always a concern that, he had passed that gene to my sons. And
Yep.
that's a double whammy on the liver.
Right.
And so right now I'm just I mean, he's 14, he's very defiant. Trying to get him at least on some methylated B vitamins like I am, and I'm on NAC, and I did SAMe for a little while. All these things are super expensive, and as a single mom now, a little bit a different organization with my finances, trying to do all the things. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really hard.
so yeah, I mean, glutathione, I did that as the liposomal supplement for a while, but I found out that, everything I'd been taking, because I'm usually pretty well oriented as far as what I need to be doing for my health, and I was on a really good vitamin for a really long time, and knowing that it was chocked full of folic acid, not to mention, even my OB suggesting that I take massive amounts of folic acid while I was pregnant with both my kids.
Yeah.
And, just having all these inconsistencies, they thought preeclampsia, and then I had the glucose test and they were like, no, you're not, that's not what it is. But my ankles would swell up like tree trunks, the inconsistencies just through that whole process of, how long we had to try to get pregnant with my son, and the infertility through both of us, through Benjamin and me. And he has MTHFR also. And so it's just kind of touching every area of my life and affecting every area, and it's a lot.
You're hitting every touch point for sure. For sure. And so you had the older son tested for MTHFR, but
I
not the younger?
did.
Yeah. Okay. And
Well,
he,
we tried to get the younger one, and as of recently, when we went to that Meridian Advanced Psychiatry, for some reason it kicked it back and said, because they're on Medicaid right now, they said that that test wasn't covered because they hadn't done enough. That was his first. My 7-year-old, he was 6 at the time, but it was his first
yeah.
introduction into the psychiatry side of any kind of, doctor appointment that he's ever had. And
Yeah.
so they kind of kicked it back, and talking to that, state side of coverage, it's like pulling teeth, trying
Oh,
to get
absolutely.
somebody
And
on the
honestly,
phone.
he may not need it, right? We know he has at least one copy from you, right? And
Hmm.
so, further testing at this point might not be applicable
Well,
because
that would have been for my youngest. So my
you
oldest, yeah, my oldest, the test went through fine, and I have his genetic, his report right here. It was my youngest that we wanted to get, because he's a little bit more, he's on the spectrum more so than my oldest.
yeah.
It's extreme sensitivities. It's, yeah, everything emotional based. Incredibly intelligent little boy, but socially and emotionally struggles.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, this is, I mean, again, MTHFR, you're hitting the highlights, right? Like ADHD, weird pregnancy symptoms, difficult fertility, somebody on the spectrum or with extreme sensitivities. Yeah, we're there. I'm there with you.
Yep. Yep. And knowing doesn't really, knowing is half the battle, I suppose, but it almost makes the uphill battle even steeper, because you're going, either there's too many
Yeah.
options, or the ones that are available. I went into a very, high end, very renowned in this area, female, physician. She'd got her own practice and branched away from the politics as far as the big hospital, that runs everything here. And so it was nice that she had her own practice, and we went to her. And when I went in, I wanted my blood screen and I wanted my testing, and she did a little bit, and she goes, well, with the MTHFR thing that she goes, there's a doctor that, that specifies,
Mhm.
that's the way he goes as far as providing treatment. But it's like 200, I think it's 250, $300 just to sit down with him to have the consult. And then obviously he's going to want to have some tests ran, and each test is about $500.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm going, okay, I have to do baby steps, and I've gotten this far on my own, but now I'm
Right.
kind of at that standstill to where
Yeah.
I need some solid answers. I need some solid direction. I need encouragement and support, and not to mention I'm ADHD, so it's very difficult for me to carve out time and focus on all the phone calls and all the paperwork and
Yeah.
repeating my
Yeah.
story over and over again.
So tell me what you've done so far. Like, how are you doing with the diet? Has that part started?
So yeah, I mean, it's a little harder with them, my kids, but I've taken folic acid pretty much completely out of our diet. Within, and actually it's starting to get a little more prevalent as far as people knowing about it. And there's some companies that are making some changes to where I'm seeing less of it on the nutrition labels, which in the beginning I was just like, everything has it in it. I just
I know.
hate, especially for them, because I'm like, my kids are picky as it is. I'm like, I don't, I'm like just trying to get protein in their body at this point, any kind of, So I just went ahead and did my own. I mean, I replayed your first, I mean, I've binged your from the first episode all the way through. And
Crazy.
again, then, yeah, my second time, and then just kind of had it on repeat while I was in the health food store going, okay, so there's a lot of letters that I'm going to throw at you right now. Telling the lady, yeah, we're gonna write it down because there's just too many acronyms. There's too many letters, but
Totally.
we narrowed it down to what I could afford, which even then I think was like, yeah, around $200 in
I know.
supplements, and that was for about 1 to 3 months, depending,
Yeah.
on how I split it up from glutathione to NAC to SAMe.
Yeah.
Um,
It's really difficult. I mean, that's a big driver for why I did the podcast, because care is not accessible, right? Like, care is not accessible. And especially for something like this, where most doctors are like, oh, just take folic acid, you'll be fine.
right,
Thanks.
right.
Right.
Really, like
Hey,
exacerbating the already extremes for us. I just feel like, there's not enough knowledge in any of it, really. I mean, even the ADHD, they're like, it's okay, just take some Adderall, and it's like significantly for women even versus men, this is an epidemic almost. It truly, it affects every area of our life, every single area.
absolutely. I agree 100%. So were you able to find, like, I don't know, like gummy vitamins for the kids or anything like that?
Yeah, I was able to do some, I think they're called Smarty Pants.
My parents that love those. That's what
Um,
I give my daughter. Mhm.
yep, I did that. And then I was doing some B12 strips for my son, and he's extremely picky, extremely sensitive to textures, and anything that, tastes like medicine, or anything that would taste like I'm taking
Mhm.
vitamins. He won't even do the chewy. My oldest one won't do the chewy vitamins because he's too old for those.
Oh, okay.
And the strips and the dissolvable little tablets. I mean, it's painstaking enough to just try to get him to take his, we've had to switch him from a Vyvanse because, and the doctors didn't believe me, but we were on Vyvanse for quite a while until it just pretty much stopped working. Now, I don't know if that was because, after so long, our gut microbiome, overproduced a certain enzyme, because that is a kind of long acting
Mhm.
released drug that, correlates with the enzyme in your stomach. Like it doesn't work unless you digest it. And then the enzyme mixes with the medicine and it creates what it's
What it's
supposed to
supposed to.
do.
Yeah.
And so we did that for the longest period. But then when both of us I started losing the hormones that, the young ones get, and he started gaining them. We still noticed similar shifts in how we were processing medication. And so he went off of Vyvanse, and it was, again, pulling teeth to put him. The only thing that worked as far as a consistency that I could see was the instant release Adderall. And that was because, I could feed it to him. I could give it to him a little bit earlier in the morning. That way, by the time he woke up and was needing the focus to get ready for school and not have the emotional outbursts or the lag, almost like adrenal fatigue is what we've kind of leaned towards. With my perimenopause, same situation. It's a good 2 hours of us having to stay moving in the morning until we actually have that cognitive function.
Yeah. Yeah. Perimenopause is the worst. It's no fun at all.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I've got some solid consistency as far as, me taking my NAC, my B12. I've been trying to get him, because now they're making, which I hate it, but though they're almost like an energy drink, but they have a little less crap in them than the worst ones.
Yeah.
And it's got the methylcobalamin versus the cyanocobalamin.
Perfect.
And so I can kind of get him to drink those occasionally just to try to get the B vitamins in his system. But I mean, he's so over it because he hears, I'm on nonstop on podcasts, whether it's ADHD or, nonstop. I mean, I've even tried to be on a couple just to try to get some answers, and even filling out all the paperworks and disclaimers and all the things, I'll lose my focus halfway through, and then I'm like, I don't have time for this. I have to go to work, because I run my own business. And so, yeah, it's just a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. It sounds like you're on the right track though, right? You're doing the foundation, which is the
I'm
biggest.
staying proactive.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you feel like you're a little bit stuck right now? What's happening now?
Yeah, basically it's just me not knowing enough about, where the inconsistencies are stemming from, because of the perimenopause,
Mhm.
because of the, trauma of, after being married for 15 years. My ex-husband and I just went through a 4-year divorce,
Oh,
and it's just been between, the custody of the kids and the well, he had the secretary as far as and she was 22. That was a
uh,
stepmom. And so I felt better about knowing that my kids were being taken care of, or at least that I could talk to somebody that I'm like, okay, so as far as taking vitamins and stuff in the morning and what they're eating, and like, because I knew if I had to leave it up to my ex, they'd be living on Pop Tarts and Doritos. And so I thought, well, then there was a couple situations, and now they are not together. So now he's single dadding it. And so I have to deal with the fact that I can stay as consistent as I can for the week that I have my boys, but when it's week on, week off, the inconsistency is going to fall right back into play when I don't have them. And then we have to regroup. I mean, I just barely got him to be okay with making sure that my youngest is taking his chewy vitamins every morning. That way he's staying consistent. But as far as the diet goes, as far
yeah,
as, me being able to talk spectrum
yeah,
with him and stuff, he looks at it completely different. He doesn't care that the MTHFR thing, he doesn't care that the hemochromatosis thing could be playing a significant role. I mean, he cooks them steaks every, and he's doing the whole extra iron diet almost because he's trying to work out. I mean, I'm at a standstill because there's only so much I can do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
when
mean,
I've got,
so
yeah,
the good news with the hemochromatosis is that while your sons are in their high growth period, which is now, right? Like now through when they're 21, basically, it's not going to be an issue because they are going to be using a lot of iron to build, to build their muscle, to build their blood as they're growing, all of those things, which is good.
well, I
But
had an iron deficiency when I
yeah, oh
was
yeah,
pregnant.
For women, yeah, that's super
And
common.
so I'm like, maybe they counteracted it for him. And, because I'm iron deficient a little bit, maybe, maybe they got that little bit of a gene from me. I don't know.
Well, and if you are prone to iron deficiency, then likely they do not have two hemochromatosis genes, right? Which is what it needs to be
No.
pretty severe, which is good. So, I mean, as adults, they can donate blood regularly, and that usually takes care of the problem, right? Because then you're
Wow.
giving away your extra iron, you're getting rid of it, it's going to somebody who can use it, which is great.
Wow. Now,
So,
is that the same as plasma?
no plasma donation, they leave the cells in, the red blood cells. So it's the red
Okay.
blood cells that you actually want to get rid of. So just donating
Okay.
whole blood, which is easy. I mean, it's very
I didn't even think of that.
yeah. It's a super simple solution to kind of a complex problem, right? So, and if you do donate regularly, then they check your levels every time, so they can tell if you're getting low or if you're getting anemic, which is great.
Huh.
So then you just skip a month or skip a couple of months or whatever. But it prevents the hemochromatosis from being a problem. So
Wow, I didn't even know that. Should suggest that too. Well, and then that's kind of what we were talking about as far as, well, yeah, you have the gene, but just like most genes,
yeah,
it could not express it, maybe it won't express itself
yeah.
as
And
far as,
usually one copy, it's very easily managed. With two copies of the gene, then you may have to go into a little bit more, but with one copy, it's very easy just with giving blood donation.
so, I might have to mention that to him because, yeah, with his dad passing at such a young age, I mean, I was pretty nervous about it, and Ben was nervous for him, but now that he doesn't have health issues that he can see,
Yeah.
he just thinks that, he's like, yeah, I think I have the gene, but I don't think it's the cancerous version, or I don't know how he says it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to mention that to him.
Yeah. Tell him to go donate blood a few times a year
Hmm.
at least, and that'll keep it sort of in check as much as it can be.
Okay. It's crazy.
So that's
And
something.
my oldest just had emergency appendectomy
Oh, cool.
because, yeah, and so I kind of wondered how that correlated. I did a little bit of research, but it's not too far. I mean, it doesn't not go in the mix as far
Yeah,
as
yeah,
what makes
yeah.
sense.
Definitely impacts his health. And I mean, appendectomies, like it's so common in his age group that if it's going to blow, that's when it's going to blow, right? So,
Well, they couldn't really tell because they just said that, yeah, they said we gave him it wasn't even they didn't even do it was a cat. Yeah, they did a CAT scan, which I was like, aren't you
oh,
guys supposed to do something a little less abrasive than,
right, right, right.
and yeah, and they ended up doing a CAT scan on him, and they were like, so it doesn't look like it's actually,
Ruptured.
yeah, it doesn't look like it's actually ruptured, but either, it's inflamed or it's, and I was looking it up and found out that, yeah, there's actually there's another option. There's another explanation that it could have been something to do with he got mono
Mm,
right before that, and his lymph nodes had swollen up
yeah,
to a
yeah.
point where I was like, we need to go, so I actually scheduled a lymphatic massage
Oh, amazing.
with
Yeah.
my girlfriend, and that was the only thing that started making him feel better,
Yeah.
was having those and so I didn't know that then, but I was thinking, they're like, well, to be safe, we're just going to take it,
Yeah.
take it out. And I went, oh, okay. So I wondered how that might have played a part in.
I mean, they actually did the right thing, because if the appendix ruptures, it's life threatening and they can't always save a person, right? Like even with surgery, they can't always save somebody with a ruptured appendix, because
Right.
basically it bursts and contaminates their entire abdomen, right?
Right. Right.
So that's bad.
Right. Right. So
So
I was like, okay, I see why we took the
exactly. Yeah.
abrasive measures, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of crazy how that worked. And then, because I've never had any appendectomy, or I've never really had any health issues up until, it's mostly, I feel like it's neural inflammation for me. It
Yeah. Yeah.
exacerbates, I feel like there's just hormones that I can't decide, I can't figure out if I'm, estrogen dominant, and maybe I just can't get rid of it quick enough
Mhm.
because I
That's
was on HRT. They put me on, a low level birth control,
mhm.
and there were some things that got better, but some things got worse. And then when I found out, don't do the synthetic stuff, which is a huge debacle right now between women's health altogether. It's
Yeah.
just like I feel like I'm going places, but everywhere leads to a standstill
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't have confirmation, you know, I don't have.
So with MTHFR, we don't process estrogen very well. So we need to be able to methylate it to actually eliminate it. But then also estrogen, like we're really thrifty creatures, right? So we, even if we can methylate it and eliminate it into the digestive tract, a lot of times we kind of go back through the trash, right? And say, oh, that might be useful, and pull it back in.
Huh.
So estrogen is tricky. We always, 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 it helps to have fiber in your digestive tract, because then the
Mhm.
fiber just kind of gloms onto the estrogen and then you can't pull it back in.
Oh, okay.
And that really,
Okay.
really helps. So, like for anybody in perimenopause, I always recommend a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Every day, every day. Just it binds to the estrogen. So if you're on HRT, then it helps clear out the excess. If you're not on HRT, it still helps with hormone processing. It's just helpful.
See, and I couldn't tell if that's why. I mean, I break out severely, but it's not even, and I've never broke out in my life, but
Oh
I
wow, really?
I
Only
get
since
it.
perimenopause?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And it's not, they're not, you know, easily like, oh, I've got a blemish, you know. No, like they're the painful scar
The
causing, you know, where
cystic.
you can't just let it sit there on your, you know, because it's just it's almost like a boil,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, those are
you know,
terrible.
and I
Yeah.
hate it. But that's been that's been probably the most frustrating part as far as, you know, outside of the mental, you know,
Yeah.
inflammation.
Yeah.
I just feel like, yeah, I get good skin for about 1 week out of
Oh,
every 30 to 40 days. 1 week, I get great skin. Well, and then I like want to put makeup on to cover the awfulness, and then
yeah.
I'm gonna break out worse because I put makeup on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
And
Which
with
part
my
of your
job, I
cycle?
sweat.
Yeah, of course. I mean, which part of your cycle are the breakouts happening?
Is it follicular phase?
Like
So
the first
it's right, yeah, it's right
before your
the
period?
release, and then as soon as I release, yeah, I feel better. My face clears up. I feel like I normalize out as soon as it happens, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So for the first week, even like a couple days after, you know, I'm like already like, okay, starting to feel better a little bit. So I wonder, I always try to figure it out on my own. Like I'm like, so does that mean I had too much estrogen and that was enabled, you know, and then progesterone, which is the new thing that they're trying to
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
the bigger deal out of. And then it's like, wait, I'm just now trying to figure out estrogen, and now you want to throw another one at me.
Yeah.
Progesterone, okay.
Yeah. So that part right, like right before your period hits, is actually the high progesterone time of the month. So your
Hmm.
progesterone rises, and then as it falls, that's when your period starts and the uterine lining starts shedding. For a lot of women, that's the more difficult hormone because it causes constipation. It's a weird one. Like it doesn't always feel great. You get hungry, you get bloated, sluggish, tired, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
the
the
first,
tiredness
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is it's you know, the adrenal fatigue was a definite like, you know,
Yeah.
is this breakdown mode, or is this, you know, I started not being able to tell, like, okay, I feel like I'm in just shutdown. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to get off the couch. Like I have energy to move, but I don't have any, you know, I can't
Yeah.
finalize on what I want to do exactly. And so now I'm just running in circles, and then that's exhausting mentally and emotionally enough to put me straight to sleep.
Yeah.
And my dad just got diagnosed with diabetes. My grandma has it on on my dad's side. My sister went in, had some tests done, and they're heavier set. All three of them are heavier set. I can't gain weight to save my life, which wasn't an issue, you know, before my kids. And then after, I just started rapidly losing weight when I started breastfeeding and everything. And I'm active now. I'm not sitting behind a desk doing the career thing. I run a commercial and residential cleaning business. And so
Oh, that's
I
great.
constantly move. And that's probably saved my life, you know, just having that movement and the adrenal, you know, exertion, just, and then being the workaholic, uh, for multiple probably reasons. Yeah,
Language.
MTHFR doesn't help. but also just to stay busy so that I don't have to be emotionally charged, and because it's giving me dopamine, and because
Yeah.
you know I'm making
Fun.
money. And so I mean, that's my addiction, is to
Yeah.
constantly work.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah,
MTHFR.
it's fun.
Yep. Yep. Okay, good.
So
So,
yeah, I was gonna tell you just a little, because I know that there's some other, which I didn't recognize any of them, obviously, except the COMT,
yeah, good.
because we both have that. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on with our CYP genes.
Okay.
Ultra rapid metabolizer.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So your body
Um,
thing you take.
so what does that do? Or what'd you say?
So ultra rapid metabolizer means that anything that you take in orally or anything that's metabolized by that gene, basically you're really good at processing it. So you're just like, done, it's
Yep.
out, right? So where a normal person might get 12 hours from it, you're getting like 4.
Or two.
2.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yep. And so, yeah, and now but it's different with food. So like lately I've been, and I've been craving sugar pretty much. I thought it was a trauma response, during my divorce, because I was like,
Right.
I've never been a sugar fan.
That's fair.
And now, yep, it's just always at night, and it's always, just a little bit, but it's always
Yeah.
sugar, something. And so, but as soon as I do, I mean, I've been I've been scared a couple times driving at late at night, just because, I mean, it's almost like my vision gets blurry,
Oh,
and I mean, it's almost like I could just straight nod off right in the middle, to
yeah.
the point where I'm like, wow, okay, I'm gonna have to like roll windows down and like
Rolling
do some
down the
stretches.
window. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I started thinking, like hypoglycemic maybe, or like,
So with
how is this?
MTHFR, we tend to be very sensitive to sugar fluctuations, right? So the lows are going to be lower, the highs are going to be higher, which makes us more prone to things like diabetes, metabolic syndrome, all of those things, because, any little thing is like big old wave.
Dramatic.
So if you are going to have a little bit of sugar late night, that's okay, but make sure you're having it with something fatty or proteiny to help balance it out
Mm,
a little bit. You may still get a bit of a spike and a dip, but it won't be as deep and it won't be as serious, like in terms of affecting your mental processing and mental health and all of that. And hopefully long term, it'll help keep you out of the diabetes territory, because we don't want that.
no, but I mean, I'm starving all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember, that's almost like a trauma thing from when I was a child. But I mean, I feel like, I was hungry all the time, and my mom was always just like, "You're not hungry, you're bored."
Mm.
And she was a 17-year-old mom and had an ADHD severe case.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, back then girls weren't diagnosed with ADHD. And so, in that early 90s, I mean, it was pretty crazy to know that, I knew that I was ADHD, but I had no idea what that meant. Kind of like the MTHFR. I knew I had that gene snip, but nobody tells you what it entails. And so you're just like, well, yeah, I got it, but wait, what?
Okay.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah. The hunger thing, I mean, for you, I would say stick with like high proteins, high fats, high fibers. So, really try to get those things to even out whatever carbs you're getting, especially fiber, because there's a couple of things that have come up with you, like the hormones and whatever, but fiber also gives you that feeling of fullness. Now,
Yeah,
the feeling of hunger, I mean, it could be a trauma response, right? And if it is a trauma response, then food isn't actually going to fix it, right? But at least having some fiber in your system will help if there's physiological hunger, right?
that makes sense. Yeah. No, and I try to do, like, I do Dave's Killer Bread,
Yeah,
because it's
nice.
a more, yeah, and it's got, and that's got a really good amount of fiber in it. And then I do, like, when I do my Greek yogurt and fruit, I do a big thing of like the ancient grains,
Mhm.
like the granola ancient grains, but it's got flaxseed, it's got quinoa, and it's got some really good stuff in it. And but again, I'm like, could I be doing better? Could I be doing something different?
I mean, load up the Greek yogurt with another tablespoon of like just ground flaxseed, which is cheap. You can find it anywhere. Like it's at Walmart. It's at, it just comes in a bag. It's easy. Just pop it in your fridge and do a tablespoon of that whenever you're having a snack, like a yogurt or anything that can take some flaxseed, just add it in. I mean, it's an
Okay,
easy.
yeah, that would be easy. That'd be an easy add-on.
Yeah.
Dim. Some of my girlfriends are doing the dim thing, and I can't remember if we're sensitive to that.
So dim is actually usually good for people with a slow COMT because do you know if yours is slow or fast?
So I have is that how I tell, is the Valmet thing?
That's
No?
the Valmet thing. Do you know if you have
Oh, okay.
Valvet or Met?
So I think I'm a Val. Let's see.
Might be fast. Hold on.
Because I know one of them's slow. Like I think I have a slow COMT.
Okay.
But I always get confused. Let's see. So both. So let's see. I'm heterozygous.
Fast one.
What's that? So
Val is the fast one.
Okay.
I always have to
think
Google
my
it.
son might be the Val.
Okay.
Gosh, of course they're going to do that right as I'm doing a podcast. I'm like, it's never noisy out here. It's always great and beautiful, and I enjoy the sunshine. And of course they're going. Can you hear that? Is that really loud?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. So yeah, my son, it just says he has reduced activity for his MTHFR. Mine is greatly reduced.
Yeah.
And it just says, I have both the C6 and the A1.
Yep.
I was just trying to I wrote it down, but because I've had several tests, so I did the ID genetics laboratory test result, which is really in depth.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't, I mean, even with them knowing that I had so many of those inconsistencies with my CYP2, like there's probably 8 to 9 CYP deals on here.
Yeah.
That say, increased sensitivity or intermediate metabolizer, not very many of them.
So the CYP are all your cytochrome P450 enzymes in your liver. So that's how we metabolize most like drugs, right? So pharmaceutical drugs. So mostly that's what it affects, right? So like, I think it's CYP1A2 does caffeine, right? And there's a bunch of them that do different things. And so usually it's on a spectrum from like a slow metabolizer, intermediate metabolizer, which is usually like considered to be normal, and then a fast metabolizer. And it really just, whatever that CYP metabolizes, it means you either need less of it if you're a slow metabolizer or should be exposed to less, or you may actually need more of it or more regular dosing if you're a fast metabolizer.
I'm going to say it's that second one, because not to mention with my ultra rapid metabolizer, I mean, I have a high tolerance for everything. I mean, I feel like the reason I was having anxiety so badly in the first beginning is because I was under medicated, and it was giving me just enough to exacerbate anxiety, but not enough to just knock it down, because I remember there was one time where I forgot that I'd taken my med already, and just as a habit
took it again.
Yep. My son's actually done that as of recently, and I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, like he ended up staying up, like it was crazy. He thought he was taking that little B vitamin I was trying to give him, and he ended up taking his morning med again, and so that was crazy. But yeah, but for me, it just kind of like, I feel like I can breathe. I just feel like I can make single thoughts, and that was a double dose. And that's kind of when I went to her and I said, what are my options? I can't keep gutting these pills because I know that they're destroying my gut microbiome. And so I'm currently on a patch, which is a transdermal.
Oh, good.
I'm on a slow acting.
Yep.
Highest milligram you can. So it's 18 milligrams for the patch. I'm on 30 for a slow release and a 30 for an instant release. and they're both Adderall. One's XR, one's IR. And I have to have I can't have generic versions. I found out because there's so many fillers.
Yeah.
There's so many they're crap. They're absolute. They cause more
problems,
side effects than they do actually. Just they let my body break it down and do what it needs to do, and there's not a big crap, Yeah. But I'm on 3 stimulants.
That's a lot.
To the point where they're like, I don't even think we can, and I'm like, well, you guys, my doctor that I've had for so long was just like, I'm nervous, what if you have like a stroke or something, and I'm like, Julie, we've been through this, like, me, and, if I felt like I was, I don't know, I hate trying not to undermine them, but at the same time, it's like, you guys aren't as dedicated to this as I am. Okay. I do nothing but eat, sleep, and breathe podcasts on MTHFR genes. While I'm working, I have that in my ear all the time because it's affecting every area of my life. I'm trying to also learn it enough to protect my kids and teach them how to, and
Absolutely.
advocate for themselves. And like when he went in for his emergency appendectomy, oh my gosh, I was in tears. They couldn't find his veins, which happened when he was little. They poked around and tried to draw blood. I mean, I don't even know how long they took to try to get the IV in because I had to walk out of the room and my ex was there, and I was just like, I'm not watching this again. I did this when he was really little, and I will not do it again. She's like, oh, I'm a great, I don't dig. I don't have to dig, because I told her about his thing from when he was teeny. And I said, so we both have a little bit of trauma with, IVs. And she's like, oh no, I'm not a rookie. And she had to go in and get an ultrasound to put on his arm. Then couldn't get one in this arm. And I said, and I'd already told him in the beginning, I said, you might have to do the other arm that you guys are used to doing. I said, that's always how they do. Finally, for me, that's how they had to figure it out. Butterfly needles, heating pads, the whole 9 yards. No, it was just that they had to do it in the other arm. So she dug around for 20 minutes. He was in tears. I was, pale. And finally comes back in and she goes, oh, okay, so now we're going to try the other arm. And I just went, and so I'm sitting here going, well, his anesthesia, when he had, same situation with me, I had to have, all of a sudden, with my perimenopause, my teeth started to completely diminish to the point where my teeth were breaking off. Pieces of my teeth were breaking off. So I ended up having to get a tooth pulled. And I felt everything. It's
a fast metabolizer.
I was trying to tell them, like, something's not right, you guys. Like, I can feel the pressure of you pulling this tooth right now. I had tears coming out just because of the experience. It was really offset. Both my kids had to have caps put on their teeth because it wasn't that they were brushing and had cavities, but it was in between their teeth that there was no, like, they had cavities in between they were going to get cavities in between their teeth. And so the dentist just said, yep, we just have to put caps on all of them. So, and that's a surgery. And so they had to go into a surgery center. Both of them had the worst adverse effects to this anesthesia. The one, my son, I had to come get the dentist to come get my son out of my car because he was losing his mind. We had to stay at the dentist office. I had to turn around and we had to drive back to the dentist office. We had to sit in a room that he paced and was losing his mind in the dentist office for, I would say, probably 2 hours.
Oh, poor kiddo.
And I just said, I won't ever have him under a local anesthetic again. And so when he had to have his emergency appendectomy, I'm like, you don't understand, I have all these gene steps, and like, I'm trying to, like, if you just give me some time, I can go home and get, the printout of his gene snips. But I'm letting you know, through all these podcasts that I've listened to, I'm saying no anesthesia. I'm saying there's other alternatives, but I don't know what they are. And I need, and they were just gonna like, oh, you're fine. Yeah. She's fine. Like, the one surgeon was like, okay, like I totally, yep. Okay. And so he kind of calmed me down by saying, I'll do this, this, and this, and that'll kind of probably help. And, I don't know.
So in
It was
good,
really awkward. I
yeah.
just had anxiety.
Oh, and of course. Yeah, of course you do. I mean, those are your babies, right? I mean, in good news with MTHFR, the only anesthesia that's really terrible for us is nitric oxide, right? Like the laughing gas. That one we have a hard time tolerating because it really rapidly depletes B12. And so it can be dangerous for us. All of the injectable
Yeah.
anesthesias they don't interact with MTHFR. Now they may
Mm.
interact with some of those CYP genes, right? So you may metabolize them differently, but there's no interaction with MTHFR. So we don't have to worry about like long-term consequences with them, which is good.
Mm. That would have been one of my bigger questions that I was like, wait, and like Ben, the one that wrote Dirty Jeans,
Yeah,
and he was like, he's like, I don't allow my kids to go on. He's like, I just tell them no anesthesia. And I'm assuming that, obviously the nitrous oxide, which I didn't know, I didn't know specifically, or I wish I would. And that makes so much sense because that's what they use when he's in the chair when they're filling a cavity. But I don't know what they use on, my youngest was 4 when he had his caps put on, and he came out of that surgery room like the Hulk, trying to rip it. I mean, just did not. And I mean, I'm like, is this normal? And they're like, well, not really, but
well,
he's just a little upset. He's a little confused. He's a little, and I'm like, no, this is not okay, And then when my oldest, same situation, I was just like, I don't trust anybody. Okay. I don't trust any doctors. I don't want anyone touching my kids. I don't want, like, we're mutants. Okay. We have mutant stuff going on in our body. Like, just don't give us stuff. Okay.
things are happening right now.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I know.
So
It's really hard.
he thinks it's funny. My youngest thinks it's funny. He's like Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mom. And I'm like, just
Yeah.
about, bud. Just about. That's yep. Feel like Leonardo on a daily basis.
That's right.
Just gonna start hanging out in the sewers because I just don't know what else to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, amazing. Amazing. Well, do you have any other questions for me? You mentioned you have a few.
I mean, just looking back, I don't know. I had some really bad inflammation in my hands and in my joints. And they do tie the hyper, I can't really remember exactly the term, but they do tie the hyper. My dad has to take water pills, but his knees, ankles, wrists, elbows, everything swells up on him. His hands are completely like deformed pretty much. And we just always thought, it was cowboy hands because he's a cowboy.
Right.
And then when I started doing the perimenopause journey, my hands started doing the same thing. And it was only when I didn't have acrylic nails on. And I thought it was really weird that my nail beds were completely flattened. To the point where I couldn't put on my own press-on nails because they were so straight across and flat. And when they would grow out, if I let them grow out, they would try to curl, like try to grow up instead of out.
Yeah.
And I mean, so my hands, I have pictures of it. My hands started to hurt so profusely. I couldn't make a fist. And I mean, you can tell they're still kind of a little bit red and stuff, but I haven't had any issues since I got my acrylics back on. But it's insane. And it would flare up almost right around my cycle.
Really?
And my hands were so painful, and my nails would start to split and come all the way up on the sides.
Yeah.
And they would almost like they were lifting from my fingers, and I could see all the way under it. And it was it was like they would grow and they would almost like curl up. And that part of my finger would be like exposed, and anything I touched, I couldn't make a fist. I couldn't touch anything. Because if it touched my fingers, just pain. And it only happened for like a week, maybe a week and a half. And it was right around my cycle. And same with my ankles. I had to go into the ER not too long ago because I was so scared because I couldn't even put pressure on my ankles.
Oh, wow.
And it was right before my cycle. And then as soon as my cycle happened, boom, they stopped swelling up. But they were so swollen. I mean, I've got pictures of it. I had to take pictures of it because it was so bad. I mean, I couldn't wear shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. My son was having to help me walk. I couldn't stand on my ankles. And
Oh
now
boy.
I don't have any problems. And it's weird because I stopped taking birth control
Yep.
for the HRT, and I consistently take my NAC and my B12. I haven't found the best MT, it's not MTHFR, it's
Late
MT.
LMTHF. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. I wanted to find out from you as far as what the, the most liposomal
Yeah. Yeah.
version of
Yeah.
that, because I don't want crap, but I don't want to pay for, that's hard to pay for that
Yeah.
much.
I know. Yeah, with the methylfolate, honestly, it's all there's like two sources. And so
Okay.
every company uses one of those two sources. So it's all pretty much the same. I
Okay.
shop the price,
Good.
honestly. Like I just go for the cheapest one. I usually get the methylfolate by itself
Okay.
so that I can dose it independent of anything else, right? Like, so, I take my background multivitamin and then an additional methylfolate instead of trying to get it all in one, because it's really hard to find a supplement that's all in one.
That's where I'm also running into problems, is I used to just look for a really, really good vitamin, and I can't do that now because most of everything has folic acid in it. But I mean, they only suggested 15 milligrams of the Deplin for the
Yeah,
L-methylfolate, and that was a long time ago. But I don't know if they just wanted to start me on something to kind of see if that would.
that's a pretty intense dose. Like 15 milligrams is actually quite a lot.
15 is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I would start with like a 1 milligram, maybe even less, like 400 micro.
Really?
Yeah, 400 micrograms, which is less than half of a milligram, is the recommended daily allowance. So 15 milligrams is like, I don't know, 35 times the recommended daily allowance. It's a lot.
Wow. Well, and it does say not even just reduced. I mean, it says greatly reduced activity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where I
That's
am
the
too.
only thing on here that says greatly reduced.
That's where I am too. And it's not so you may need a higher dose, but start with a lower dose, because if you take a high dose and don't need it, you feel crazy pants. It's not fun.
Okay.
Like it just
Okay, because that's the other thing is I was like, I don't know what to start with first
yeah, yeah,
and slowly get my body used to. So I had to go back to your episodes, because but then I was like, well, now I don't have money for that one, but I have
right,
money for these three. And so I'm
right,
like,
totally. No, I get it. I get it. Go for the cheapest methylfolate you can find that's just by
okay,
itself. And I usually take a background of like a good vitamin. So, something from Thorne Research or Smarty Pants or whatever, something like that. So I take the background of the good vitamin and then
okay.
add to that an extra dose of the methylfolate. Now, for me, my usual extra dose is like 2 milligrams, right? That seems to be what my body wants. I don't take it every day. I just take it days when I'm feeling kind of sluggish or low energy or
Really? Okay.
so
Yeah, I just didn't know with my metabolism if, it was me feeling sluggish because I'm processing it too fast, or some of the stuff maybe I'm not processing at all and I'm getting a
yeah,
buildup in my system. I mean, I'm
exactly.
going, I don't
It's so
know.
hard to know, but I would start with a slow, like a low dose, and just see how your body feels. You can always experiment with it and go up, but if you start really high, then it can be very dramatic.
Right.
Too high a
Right.
dose feels terrible. I mean, it's really awful,
I
right? Like,
almost feel like that with my B12. Like I feel like if I take it every day, and maybe it's not the B12, but I mean those are the NAC and the B12 are what I take the most consistently. But I mean sometimes I just feel
yeah,
like the anxiety is shoving me in places that,
100%.
I don't want to
Yeah,
be in. And sometimes I'm like, okay, so maybe I won't take my medicine until like 2 hours after.
yeah,
Because that's just
yeah,
it, is I was getting to a point where I couldn't eat any food because
yeah.
if I ate food, my medicine would take 3 hours to kick in for 1 hour
Oh, that's
because
miserable.
my body was like, well, we can't, yeah, like digest food. We're just gonna digest it all together, and
Yeah,
so as quickly as I'd burn through the food as I was burning through the medication, and I'm going, cool, I had enough focus to get my house cleaned now. And now I have to go clean someone else's. Like that wasn't the point. I needed to get out of the house to go
Yeah.
do my work. And now I don't have enough energy to do someone else's.
Yeah. So the methyl B12 can make you feel that like agitated, kind of like weird, speedy feeling. And so can the methylfolate. And even in people with ADHD, right? Everybody's like, oh, maybe I'll feel normal. Yeah, no, not necessarily. Just take it
Yep.
easy, right? Like just go slow. And you can always ramp up the dose, but it's really hard if you take a massive dose to live through the the feelings before you calm down.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, between the COMT and the MTHFR, I just kind of wanted to know, like I said, I think one of them's fast, which is the MTHFR, but I think I have a slow COMT, and I can't remember how to figure that out. I know I had it written down, but
So when you
it's
look
a
at your
GG. A GG is my COMT.
EG, okay, is that Bal or Met? Hold on just a second. Let me look it up because I don't remember either.
Okay.
Okay. So with this COMT,
So let's see. Oh, Val. Okay, so that's a
Bal
fast.
is GG. Yeah. So it's fast. So what that means is your COMT enzyme works faster than average. It's like that rapid metabolizer, but that means
Okay.
you get rid of estrogen faster than average, dopamine faster than average, epinephrine and norepinephrine faster than average, right? So all of those things, your body's just like, yep, I can gobble this up real fast, right? And so it doesn't hang out in your system very long,
Okay.
which means perimenopause has the potential to be more difficult for you than average because you're getting rid of all your estrogens as soon as you're making them, right? So, and your cortisol and your stress hormones, all of the things, right? Like all of those are just burning through
Yep.
it. So magnesium is helpful.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
cofactor for COMT.
Okay.
The good news is you have a super high stress tolerance, right? Like you're
Yeah.
very good under pressure, and pressure usually like helps you to focus
Yep.
because that's when your hormones are like, okay, yes, we are on, right?
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna go inside because that guy's annoying me with his
Yeah.
loud. Yeah. Okay, because that's my biggest thing is I'm so conflicted because I can't remember my information. So I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm a fast. No, I'm a slow fast.
You're,
No.
yeah,
Wait.
MTHFR is slow, COMT is fast.
Okay, because the ultra rapid metabolizer would make me think.
Well, ultra rapid metabolizer means you do other things fast too, right? Like, so estrogen and other hormones are not the only things you get rid of quickly, right? That
Right.
means you burn through other stuff like fast, like your
But
medication.
the slow MTHFR would be, I mean, how would I?
That's like you, when you eat folate or get nutrients, you're not activating the folate very fast, right?
So it's more of like a deficiency.
It's more of a deficiency.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So other stuff, like when you take a drug or your hormones or whatever, you just burn through them like lightning. But then when you're trying to activate your folate, it's slow.
Just like, I'll take a nap. I'll be with you in a minute.
Exactly. I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah. So what should I do then with the perimenopause?
I
Because I
mean,
don't want to do a synthetic
no,
estrogen.
no, for sure.
I was
Bio,
eating a lot of beans for a while, then I was like, oh wait, those are bad estrogens?
no, they're well, I mean, soy is
I
different.
know, and that's where I'm like, because I
It's
do a really
different.
good taco soup, and I was like, okay, we're gonna live off of taco soup for a while, guys. Like,
Well, I
but then I'm
mean,
like, wait, I can't feed them estrogen,
other beans are great.
thinking,
It's just the soybeans that are challenging, but other beans are great. So, is there an option for bioidentical hormone therapy, or does it have to be?
it won't be covered to where I could afford it.
Uh,
I'm on Medicaid. So if we
yeah,
would have put it in as HRT, they wouldn't have.
yeah,
But
yeah,
we
yeah,
put it in as just birth control.
yeah. Yeah.
So they covered it.
Okay.
Because
Okay. But
everything else I've tried, when I went to that gal that's specifically for female hormones, she didn't really give me my blood test back, which I don't know if it's just because she's like, well, she's not going to know how to read them. But
yeah.
what
Yeah.
should I look for in those blood tests? Because she said something
Well,
like, well, this, and this. And she goes, that's kind of leaning towards insulin resistance, is what she said. And that's kind of all she had
okay.
mentioned.
Okay. If she was talking about insulin resistance, then it'll be blood glucose levels. So it'll be either glucose or hemoglobin A1C, which is like your longer term measure of your blood sugars, or insulin itself. She might have measured insulin.
She
But I
just
mean,
said something looks like it could be leaning towards.
yeah,
She
it
goes,
could be any of
something.
these, honestly. It could be any of those. So that doesn't give us a lot of information, but I mean, definitely watch your diet, right? Like with insulin resistance, you definitely have to be careful about sugars that are by themselves, right? So eat
Yeah, and
sugar.
I don't eat sugar during the day. I don't want it really during the day. It's at night. And I
Yeah.
only want like I'll run in there and, eat an ice cream sandwich or something. And then I'm like, oh, like I honestly feel that relief.
Really. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But then I'm like, I'm ready to go to bed, like immediately, like I passed
Right.
out talking to my son, like in conversation and just nodded out. And he's just like, Mom, Mom.
Hello.
I'm like, oh, sorry. He's like, oh, you're tired. He's like, you need to go to bed. I'm like, yeah, I just had a sugar crash. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's just been happening recently, like as of the last year. So
Yeah.
I don't ever know if I'm doing something really harmful.
I mean, I would try to get some protein with it, right? So have your sugar, but have protein with it, right? Like a handful of nuts or,
I do
you
that a
know,
lot.
little piece of cheese or whatever, right? Something.
So I'm to kind of even it out. Because, yeah, I just feel super sensitive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't be too sensitive because I burn through it so quickly.
Well, but that
It
is
is.
sensitivity, right? The more sensitive you are, the higher the spike and the faster the drop, right? So that is definitely sensitive.
So what should I, with having the extremities of, burning through the things I need too fast or not getting them to the right places quick enough?
The best thing for you
I
is going to be to
do.
stay as stable as possible, which means like with blood sugars, with everything, like keep everything as even as you can, which means make sure you're eating regularly, right? Make
I
sure
eat
you're
all day
hydrating.
long.
Perfect. Eating all day long is good for your body, right? Like that's for your system specifically, right? And make sure that, when you eat, you're getting good fats, good proteins,
Yep.
and not a lot
Nuts,
of
cheese,
sugars. Yes, perfect.
yogurt,
Yeah.
fruit.
And
I
adding the
bring a
fiber.
cooler with me and I have a cooler every day and it's got adaptogens for my drinks and it's got,
Yeah.
hydration and water and cheese and nuts and yeah.
So that's exactly
So,
what you should be doing. That's exactly what you should be doing. Just add a little bit of protein or fiber to that sweet thing at night, and that'll help a little bit. But I mean,
okay.
also it sounds like you're burning pretty hard, right? So, you
That's
know,
the other thing is I just,
it's like quick, happy calories.
yeah, I mean, I'm, like I said, sometimes I'm just not picky on, what I eat because I'm just like, no, I can, you know, I'll burn it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just, I mean, I don't know what to focus on as far as this, I'm trying to prep for those awful weeks so they
Mhm.
don't sneak up on me. And then I'm just like, it's my kids, it's my week for my
Yeah.
kids. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we're not going to, like, mom's
So
not going to be wanting to go to the park too much this
yeah, for
week.
sure. One of my favorite tools for hormones, especially when you can't do, like a bioidentical hormone replacement or something like that, is something called seed cycling. Have you ever heard of seed cycling?
I've heard about it, but I don't really know the ins and outs of it.
So the first 2 weeks, so like between your period and the middle of the month when you would ovulate, if you were still ovulating, then you have a tablespoon of ground flax seeds every day and a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, the green ones like the pepitas.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have
then
those.
and then between when you ovulate and when you bleed again, you have a tablespoon of raw sunflower seeds and a tablespoon of sesame seeds every day. And that's it. It's so simple. Right? So
Wow.
Super simple, but it really helps to actually like regulate the highs and lows so it's not as dramatic. I mean, is it going to be like bioidentical hormones? No, it's not that strong, but it is a really good start where it just makes everything a lot more gentle. So you're not like going from here to here, you're kind of going from here to here, right?
Okay, so yeah, what was that again? What was the
First two,
yeah.
yeah, first 2 weeks, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed and a tablespoon of pumpkin seed, right? And that's between the first day you start bleeding and like the first half of your cycle. So the first 14 days if you're on a 28-day cycle, or you know, the first
So
if you're on a 30 or whatever.
yeah, so today it would be flaxseed and
Pumpkin
pumpkin
seed.
seeds.
Right.
So both you want a tablespoon each day.
Yep. Super
Pumpkin.
simple. You can mix it with yogurt, you can have it by itself, you can put it in a smoothie, doesn't matter. Don't care about that part.
Okay, and then for the 2 weeks when I'm cruising and everything, yeah, or like
Yep. Exactly. So those last
or
2 weeks,
maybe for the maybe that is the worst. I think that is the worst part
that's
leading
the
up
worst
to it.
part. Yeah. So for those last 2 weeks, you're doing a tablespoon of sesame seeds
Sesame, okay.
and a tablespoon of raw sunflower seeds.
And I have those two. Okay.
Perfect.
So that's the sad face. That's the sad face. Sad face seeds.
Exactly.
There we go. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, and just the things going on, wondering if it was metabolism or
Yeah.
wondering how to just kind of normal out, all the things that
Yeah.
would go with metabolism.
Well, with the
So,
hormones, you know, like the seed cycling is it's super helpful. It doesn't kick in right away. It's not like you eat your first day of seeds and you're like, oh, I'm great. You know, it takes a few months, but after 3 months, I will be curious to see what you notice, because for a lot of women, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, things are easier, right? Like I'm not having those big swings. I'm not having so many symptoms. It's just easier. So
because I thought about going off I thought about just kind of doing a reset just to kind of start bringing things back to see.
yeah,
But I feel like I don't ever know what is the inconsistency from my medication? Is it inconsistency, from hormones? Is it because of the MTHFR? Is it because I'm doing the wrong, the
yeah.
wrong supplementation? I didn't know.
No, I mean, it sounds like your supplementation is good. I mean, the MTHFR, you know, it makes things a little bit more difficult, but then you being a rapid metabolizer makes things difficult too, right? Because you're just burning through stuff so fast that your body has to struggle to keep up. But it's how you're built, right? Like that's just how you're built. So keep everything in the background as steady as you can, and that'll help you to weather the kind of highs and lows.
Okay. And then, yeah, trying to do that for my son. But then I'm like, wait, I forget you're a boy, like
Yeah. I
you
mean,
don't need the seed cycle.
14-year-old boys are not known for their compliance with medical plans.
No, no, it's kind of their thing to
Yep.
be defiant and a pain. But, I'm like, gosh, you wouldn't be so defiant if you would just do the good diet, like,
There's got to be some reason you want to kick them out of the house, right?
yeah,
Like, otherwise, we'd never
so
get rid of them.
true. I know, because when they're sleeping, I'm like, oh,
I know.
when they're unconscious, I'm like,
I
I just
know.
want to know you. You're so sweet when you're not moving or saying the word no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And keep me posted. I can't wait to hear how the seed cycling goes.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm interested to try that and yeah, to narrow down on my supplements and start taking a good vitamin again. So
Yeah.
I think that will help. So
Awesome. Awesome. All right, my dear. Keep me posted.
okay.
I want to hear.
Sounds good. I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.